Tech Friday on a Monday. This is the very first time I did the Tech Friday. So anyways, week before last now, was it last week? Yeah, week before last, I went to NC Tiles in Raleigh. Learned a lot of really good things. That's the big, it's the North Carolina Teachers in Education, or North Carolina Technology Innovators in Education Symposium. I think it's the full name of it. I've got a sticker. Anyways, like going to it every year because it's a big, basically a giant conference with teachers and experts in K through 12 using technology in different ways to make the educational experience a little bit better and interesting. So got some ideas from there, and then also a couple of things. You'll see there's one website that I use a lot in this particular meeting because it's chock full of ideas, and that's the Ditch That Textbook website. That's actually my guy to find. But a couple things first. Sent an email last week just with the Google form asking if anybody would be interested in doing a classroom podcast or learning how to use podcasts to use in the classroom. It is from an article from the Ditch That Textbook website. It's got some pretty cool ideas. One's like, kids would podcast their way through a project, explaining the different things. You can also use it as an idea of doing a flipped classroom. Videos are good, but the podcast aspect of it lets them, if they follow them on their phones, they can download any of them to their phone and listen to them at any time. So kind of like an audio book or another one's like a radio show that you can take with you. But there's a free app called Anchor that works on your phone and on your desktops, lets you record, and it'll automatically publish it to all the major podcasting, Apple Podcasts, Google, anywhere they can download it, or they can download it, or listen to it directly from the site. So there's some pretty cool ideas. If you want to, you can read the article. I linked it in the forum, but there's just two options, yes or no. And then those who say yes, I'll come and talk to you more about it. Those who say no, we'll move on with our lives. The next thing, I sent an email because I went Pear Deck. I did a training on them. That's the add-on where you can make your Google Slides interactive with the students. You put this up, you can ask them questions, get some formative assessment data back, and all that. But anyways, they were there, and they offered, since I went there, they gave me a link to get free premium access for 3 months, which if you do the math, will take us all the way basically to the end of the year, because 3 months from today is May 12th, and we graduated on like the 16th or 17th. So that clears through exams. So if you haven't,
June 12th.
June 12th. Not going that late. There.
3 months is June 12th.
Never mind. I can't even do math. So you can do it and then practice on it after they're gone. Thank you, Braga. But there's 523 upgrades left. All you got to do is click on the links in there, choose sign in with Google, and then it'll give you access to it. And it gives you the full access to Pear Deck. And just so in case you're wondering, well, we may not have it after the county actually is looking at. We had a discussion. If there's enough interest in it, then the county's looking at actually purchasing possibly a district license or school level licenses for us to continue using. So if there is interest in it, do it. So anyways, this will give you the full blown experience. If you want to try some more of it, you can. And if you got questions or want me to come work with you on that, by all means, let me know. Okay. Next one, person to follow. I did this 2 sessions ago. Highlighted the guy named Richard Byrne. This one is Matt Miller. He's the author of Ditch That Textbook. His name came up a lot at the NC Tiles conference, and about 2 or 3 sessions I went to, he kind of came up. I was already following him on Twitter, just kind of as people to look at, but I wasn't really diving in as closely as I probably should have. But anyways, he is really good as far as figuring out different ways of utilizing the Google apps like Docs, drawings, extensions, and all that kind of stuff to make the classroom a little bit more, or make the learning experience online a little bit more diverse and a lot more in depth. He prides himself on provides use it in class tomorrow solutions. So it's not something you have to have a whole lot of training on. Just throws out an idea, lets you try it out. So got links to his website about him. You can also click on the the Digital Textbook icon, that'll take you directly to the site, and then that's his Twitter handle if you want to follow him, because he usually posts updates and things like that. So it brings me to the next section, Google extensions. All right. Does anybody not know what a Google extension is? Brogdon. All right. Basically, a Google extension is a sort of a low-key application that augments or makes Google Chrome a little bit better, because they make these with the idea of Chromebooks in mind, because Chromebooks just have the Chrome browser on them. They can't really do anything beyond that as far as special functions. They don't have other applications. They can download applications, but like you're kind of stuck what you can do inside of Chrome. So extensions kind of make things a little bit easier for students, things that we can do like screen record and take screenshots and things like that. It's a little bit more in-depth to do it on a Chromebook. So extensions kind of make it a little bit easier. So wanted to highlight a couple of them. I've got in this particular Padlet, I'm going to try and just keep adding to it. I'll organize it a little bit better, but a couple ones I just want to show. If all these links, by the way, or all these are links, so if you want to go directly to that one, you can use it. And I've also have all of these are downloaded on mine. So a couple ones to point out. The very first one is Extensity. It's an extension to manage your extensions. All right. So if you add a lot of extensions, you know, at the very top up here, you start losing your URL bar. It gets really, really short. I saw somebody had one about an inch long, so I don't even know how they type their websites. But anyways, it looks like this guy right here looks like a little yin yang symbol. But when you click on it, it'll list all of your extensions, and you can turn them on and off whenever you want to. So if I want to turn these on, turn them off, I can choose which ones, and they will show up on my toolbar as I click them on. So you can see I can move them or turn them on. So it's an easy one. It also shows all your Google apps. The guy who showed this, his list dropped all the way down to like here. It was ridiculous about how many apps he had. But he was like a Google expert thing. He pretty much plays with all of them. The next one, G Suite Training. That one is a really cool one. And if you're ever trying to figure out how to use a Google Doc or something like that, or this, especially for students, we're going to try and get this one pushed out to all the students, because a lot of times I ask, well, how do you insert this table? How do I put this image in? How do I do this? How do I do that? This will put a little question mark over here. And when it clicks on it, it'll give you a drop-down menu pertaining to whatever app you're in. So in this case, I'm in Google Docs. I can search. So if I want to insert a table, I can spell table right. So insert rows and columns. I can click on it, and it'll actually give me step-by-step instructions. Maybe. I got to have a table in here. There we go. Insert a table. So it gives you little instructions down here. You can't hear it, but it actually will talk to you as well. Just get started, click on insert menu. It walks you through, and it actually will highlight. So, and it'll make you click on it. There's a little interactive mouse. So I can go through it. No, so it's like a tech person's right there beside you telling exactly what to do in case you need to do something. And it covers pretty much the entire gamut of all Google apps. So Google Slides, Google Sheets, Google Docs, Google Drawings, Forms, anything. If you want to kind of dive a little bit deeper or want to learn how to do something, this is an app or an extension that will help you out on that. I think it sounds like the ocean upstairs. Another one. Let's see. I'm going to kind of skip around a little bit. Office editing, docs, and sheets. This one will allow you to, if you have a Microsoft Word document or PowerPoint or an Excel sheet, you can actually use this extension to edit them without having to convert them over to a Google Doc. You can edit them inside a Google Chrome without having to actually do anything. So pretty good one there. These two right beside each other, Readability and Mercury Reader, they both do the same thing. I actually prefer Mercury Reader better. The Readability one was highlighted in NC Ties, but Mercury Reader was one that I'd found. But it will take a website and kind of clean it up. So if I go to a news article, do I want to learn about that one? Let's see. Let's find one that's not about Playboy or porn. Jeez. Top stories of this.
Because they were all related to Donald Trump.
Yeah, I know. All right, let's look at a stake in Pennsylvania. So, look, Donald Trump. So anyways, so you have the document. They got videos. They got advertisements, all that fun stuff. And then there's Anderson Cooper. I can click on my little Mercury. It's this little extension, Mercury Reader. I click on that, and it turns it into this. A lot easier to look at, right? And this is all done within Chrome. I can then take this. I can change the typography, change the text size. I can go to a dark theme. Do large text, small text. But the other nice thing about it, why is it highlighted? I can also print this document. Or in this case, I'm actually going to change it to a PDF, and we'll save that for later. And again, if anything stick out to you and you're like, I want that one, just click on the link. It'll take you right there to the download and just add it. There's no downloads or anything like that. Let's see, Nimbus Screenshot, that's doing screenshots inside of Chrome. Checkmark. Checkmark is a really good one, especially if you do a lot of Google Docs with your students. Do I have it turned on? Yeah. So in this particular case, here's my document. When I have checkmark turned on, I get these little keys right here. And what they are, they're like, you remember the canned responses one I told you about a couple weeks ago about with the email where you can have automatic responses set up? This is like that, but for comments. So in this case, I could say, I could highlight something and click check capitalization, and it'll automatically throw that over there for me. So I can go through my text really quick and have these set up already, and it'll kind of highlight and tell them which one is what. So check punctuation. If I want to know what it is that I'm looking for, I can click up here, and I can edit these. I'll have a list. So if you do any type of commenting on Google Doc, giving feedback of that nature or anything like that, you can put these in, add new ones, and without having to type it out, you can just go through and click it real quick and know what they are. These are kind of the default ones that are on there. All right, y'all are so riveted right now. It's just stunned you to silence. Couple of things. Cami, I've shown Cami before, have I not? Sounds familiar. Oh, Lord. I love y'all. All right. Cami is a PDF annotation extension. I'm going to have to do this entire presentation again in front of Greenleaf because the vast majority of these things is so people go paperless. So anyways, that's my little spiel there. Yeah, so on Cami, you can actually, let me bring up a PDF here. So here's one that I downloaded earlier. But when it's installed, it actually is the default PDF viewer inside of Chrome. But what I can do with this, if this is a, this is from a Newsela article, but you can do all the highlighting tools. But the other one that I want to point out is you can actually type and text on there. So I had a worksheet that I had a PDF copy of. I could fill it out, no problem. I just put my cursor where I want it, and I can type. I can even do voice text, but I have to upgrade for that one, so we're not going to use it. You can insert equations, you can insert comments, underline, strike through. You can do all of the fun stuff that you normally do, but this is all within inside of Chrome, and it also, you can save. So if I want to download, I can download 2 different versions. I can download the original with no annotation, with annotation, or the annotations only as a text file, but I don't think anybody really do that. And if I want to save it with the annotations, I can do all pages, and I can also just send it directly to Google Drive, or I can download it to my computer. In the kids' case, they'll send it to Google Drive because when they download something, it actually saves it in their Google Drive also. So it's kind of redundant. But on ours, we can actually download a copy of it. So that's a really good one in case you ever use any type of PDFs. Let me go back. See if there's any other ones. Grammarly, if you need help typing, this thing will spell check and do everything for you, and it'll highlight and let you know what you need to do. And then one last one, a great one that some people like. Does anybody know what Honey is? I figured Daniel would. This was not education-based, but it's one that everybody likes whenever they talk about it. Honey is a extension that will look for all coupon codes online whenever you shop on different things like Amazon, Target, Walmart, things like that. And if there's a coupon code for it, it'll automatically insert it. Honey. So people like that one. So if you like that, try it out. All right, moving on. Any questions? Thoughts? Nothing? All right. I'm going to keep on moving. All right, so here's the two main things I was going to talk about today. One is I've talked about the SAMR model in the past. I don't know how many familiar y'all are with it, but it is a it's basically kind of my guide that I have to use as far as integrating technology into the classroom. SAMR standing for substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. And that's the use of technology in the classroom. So substitution is probably the number one because that's like I used to give you a worksheet, but now here's the PDF copy of it. I've not really changed how I've given you the information. I've just given you now on the computer. Okay, so that's the first step. Augmentation is then going a step further, and you can now use the highlighter tool on the computer, but even then you can still do that online. So maybe you can insert text comment, things like that. But augmentation and redefinition is where it's a little bit harder to get to if you're not kind of open to some of the things that you can do online, or if you're not, that's the part because you got to actually kind of redefine how you're doing it, redefinition. So I wrote a spiel here. Feel free to read it when you want to. But what I'm looking at, or what I'm going to come off of, is this particular article. I lost Phillips there for a second. You okay? All right. So what I'm going to do with y'all now, if you want to kind of follow along with me, or try it out with you, I'm going to have you kind of walk through it with me. This is another Google extension. I think Matt uses it also. It gives you a nice happy background.
Yeah.
Right now we're hitting a new tab. So what I'm going to have kind of go through with you is annotating a news article. Okay. We can do Newsela, or you can do something from the news, but what I want to do is a nice clean PDF. So I'll probably actually do Newsela because that one works pretty well. The other one would be like the Mercury Reader, but so everybody just go to Newsela, find you an article. Don't matter what, just find an article.
Just hit Google sign in.
And then yeah, just use your school email. I would call what we're doing right now your kind of preset that you would have for before the students actually got to the school email.
Yeah, use your school.
Yeah. All right. You can just watch along for this part, Brian, if you want to. We don't have to go into there if you need to, or just grab an article.
Yeah, you don't have to log in.
I don't think so. Do you? Does anybody know?
You just go to the top.
They won't let me do anything until I log in.
Yeah.
Hold up in the room after
No, you're right. I went to Black Banner, Black Women in Politics.
All right. So I want to take with this article. Now with Newsela, obviously there's a lot of questions and stuff embedded, and you can change the reading level and all that. What I want to do is just get this article and get it over to Google Docs. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to actually click on the print icon up here. Should be up here. There should be 4 symbols.
It might be a dot.
Dot, or print. But hopefully you should see the print. Do we see the print? All right. I'm just going to do article only. And it took me to my Cami because I already have that set up. But you don't have to have Cami. Just want to clarify that. Yeah. In fact, let me turn Cami off real quick. Because I want to show the same as y'all do because don't want to confuse no one. All right, let's go here. All right, so here's what you should normally see. What we're going to do is we're going to click article, we're going to print, but what I want to do is save as PDF. So you'll click change like you're going to change printer and choose the save as PDF option.
Just a quick question.
Yo.
There's a download option as well.
I don't know. Haven't tried that. Let me do it though, and I'll see. I'll let you know. Where's the download button?
No. If you go to print.
Yeah, download will also be a PDF.
Oh, okay. Could I do that?
Yeah. All right. So what we want to do now is we got to get this into Google Drive. Okay, our PDF document that we've downloaded. One of the nice things about that Cami, when I had it, I could export directly to Google Drive and kind of save me a step, but it's okay. So that PDF that you've downloaded, let's upload it to Google Drive. Don't put it in the team drive. Oh, quick, when you upload to Google Drive, does yours look kind of like mine and you have a lot of stuff and sometimes you lose it? After you upload it, if you hover over the little thing and click on the search icon, it'll actually take you directly to the file and highlight it for you. Just a fun fact.
Well,
But we want it.
that's not bad.
Yeah. All right. So next what we're going to do is we're going to open it, but we want to open it with Google Docs. So let me zoom in so you can see my screen a little bit better. So if I, instead of double clicking on it, if I right click or 2-finger click, whatever you have set up, and choose open with, I actually have open with Google Docs. Okay. Click on that. What it's going to do now is actually it's going to convert that text into an editable text document. Okay. Now, a couple things to kind of point out. Whenever it does this, and it's done this on the CNN ones too, it'll kind of shift some things around, kind of where if there's a page break, it'll move that over. But we're going to change a couple things up because now we've got this in a document that we can annotate. The kids can annotate on this, but we can still make it a little bit better. Okay, so let's change a couple things up first. We'll click on File over here on the left, and we'll click on Page Setup. What we want to do is kind of give them a bigger canvas to work on because right now the text is kind of taking up most of the document. I want to have an area for them to work on. So the first thing I would probably do is change this to landscape. So it orients the paper from portrait to turns it sideways. And the other one would be on the paper size, change it to tabloid, the second option. So I went to landscape and tabloid to change my paper size. Now I've got a much wider area to work on, right? Okay. But I need to kind of shrink some stuff down. So what we can do now with this text is we can take it, and I'm going to cut and paste it into a table, basically. So if I cut this and insert a table, I'm going to put two sides to this table. So I have, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste my text in. And it took out all my extra spaces for me too. Well, now what I want you to look at is what we have. We have my entire news article on the left side and have a blank editable space on the right side. All right? Don't need to wait. It looks like she's lost and she's scrolling.
Okay. Slow down with that. Open the table.
All right. So now over here I have an editable field, so I can go in as a student. I can now give this to my students to say, all right, read through the article. On the right side, you can write down comments, anything, notices, wonders, things of that nature. You could also add, you don't just necessarily have to add one column. You could have multiple columns. You could have a notice column, and then you can throw in another column to the right, and then have this be your wonder. And then as they're reading through the article, they can kind of write it down as they go. That's one option there. Other things they can do with this. They can highlight it, and they can do the comment feature. So it's they call it talking to the text. So you can highlight the specific thing that you're looking at, click the comment button, or in this case, you can just highlight it and then click the comment bubble over here. And then they can. So if I didn't do the tables, I could do it this way. And then this particular text is highlighted, so I know exactly what they're talking about. That's another feature. Another thing they could do, as they're reading through this document, because as you can see, I don't have any images from the original article. So you could have the students put images to the text that they're reading to kind of show their understanding, because one understand, like, this is based off of another thing I read, but the images are, if you look for the images and kind of associate what you're reading, it helps you kind of comprehend it a little bit better. So they could look for images, and we'll see if you remember from last year or not, but remember down here in the bottom right-hand corner, there's this little explore tool, that little guy. If you click on that, I can look for images. So this thing is talking about whale sharks. I can look for them. Here's some. I can throw one in. Good Lord. It's a big one. But I can throw it into my article and kind of move along. So if I see some text, so that's one thing I'd say, all right, insert 6 images that associate with this article. And then they can do a write-up underneath about it. Or if they can't find their own, they can even insert a Google drawing and do their own thing, because if you go up here to the insert button, let me scroll up here. You can go to drawing, and then they can draw you a whale shark if they want to. Okay. This hit on anything? Kind of open up make some wheels turn a little bit, maybe, sort of. All right. This dives a little bit deeper. All the stuff that I showed you is pretty much directly from this article here. And it gives you step-by-step instructions on everything that I showed you. So in case you're lost. Oh, there was another one. There's a add-on. Y'all know about add-ons, or know what when I refer to add-ons in a Google, what I'm talking about? As opposed to extensions. Yeah, there's add-ons, extensions, and apps. Add-ons are specific to the Google thing that you're in. Extensions are all of Chrome, and then apps are like bigger extensions. But add-ons are like what I can add for this particular Google Doc. So the ones I have right now are Mail Merge, Highlight Tool, EasyBib, Bibliography, Doc to Form, so I can turn the document into a form. But you can click Get Add-ons, and you can see the kind of store that's available to you. And the kids, I believe, have access to this. If not, we can give them things. But the one I wanted to show on this is the highlighter. So the highlight tool, you can actually set up a highlight library, click on what you want, or excuse me, you select your text, choose the color, and it'll highlight it for you. And it's pretty easy because I want to highlight this in yellow. And you can even call it, you can label these, questions, bad, good, whatever you want to do. So it's pretty easy to do that there. So this is a kind of a new way of doing annotations on a document versus the most basic form of annotating a document is me printing off something and say, highlight what sticks out to you and then answer some questions. Okay, that's your most basic form of it on a paper document. On here, you can see there's a lot of different possibilities that we can do that can kind of engage the students a little bit differently. There is some little prep work on the front end, but even then you don't have to go to find a Newsela article or print off and do all these kind of weird document things. You can just have, 2 columns and paste some text onto the left and then on the right side, tell them what you think about it, and then they can. But if you have some parameters like add images or throw in some highlighting or highlight certain sections, things of that nature, you can make it a little bit more dynamic than just reading a text. So that's my spiel on that part. Any questions? That was anybody? A lot of stuff, but like I said, if you look at that article that linked on there, it walks you through everything and even goes further. You could have the students read all of this or go through all this and then have them screen record their computer and have them go through what they read to you and then submit that to them if you want to, or they can do it in front of you, or you can just read yourself. But there's like 9 different ways you can do it that they talk about here. Okay? Next part, where am I at? Google Drawings. So I talked about Google Drawings the first time when I came back from NCTIs last year. All right. Went to an actual session. There's actually also a DitchStat textbook. As you can tell, I really like the DitchStat textbook website. I saw a lot of stuff on there. Even posted 5 Google Drawing features you didn't know about. Because there's a lot of things people know how to do Google Drawings, insert a line, a shape, things of that nature. This video talks about things that you may not know or aware of. But I also went to a session at NCTIs that went a little deeper into it, and they shared a lot of really cool things. What I want to click on first is the templates that's linked in there. Let me change these up. So these are templates all made inside Google Drawing. The way the woman presented to us, you can basically manipulate Google Drawings into whatever format you want, because a lot of people look at it as the picture maker thing, but you can actually, she makes infographics. In this case, it's a name chart, worksheets that are editable, storyboards, things like comparison charts, maps, timelines, Venn diagrams, and things of that nature. And then she also provided the link to our presentation. So if you want to take a look at the presentation that I saw, some of it just have kind of key points, and these Yoki links, they don't work anymore. They last for like 24 hours. But she showed off a couple different things. These are things that she's made inside of Google Drawings. Some infographics. Posters. Which, by the way, I want to get a poster printer for the school. That's the goal for next year. So we can actually make our own posters instead of sending them up to the top of the hill and having to print them off, or just doing our little sheets. So, because then if they make something in here, they can do that. But moving on, let's open up a new Google Drawings. Just go to new. You have to slide all the way down to more. They haven't made it one of the big 3. Well, it'd be the big 4 then if they did that. Let's open up a Google Drawing real quick. I'm going to show you a couple of things that she showed us there. Just kind of show you some things you can do and change. Actually, let me grab one. I showed these to a couple of people, but you can actually make your own custom Post-its using Google Drawings. So if you want to be that extra person. And all that is using a combination of Bitmoji. That I think I showed that with y'all that last year, because we spent like 20 minutes designing our Bitmoji. Still have it more. I know that. See this dancing all over Instagram. All right, so just kind of point out a couple things about Google Drawings. One thing, y'all see the checkered background. You know what that means?
Transparent.
It means it's transparent. If I put anything on there, it's not going to have any type of background, so I can drop something on it. So it won't be like a blank sheet of paper, okay? So what I want to do first is, like Google Docs, I can change the size of this particular canvas, all right? Because if I want to do a specific thing, like, make it the size of an image, or in this case, the size of a worksheet. So let's go to File and Page Setup. And you can see you only get 3 options: 4x3, 16x9, 16x10. But let's click on Custom. And you can do it by pixels, inches, centimeters, or points. Choose inches. What's the standard height of a piece of paper? 8.5 by 11. Depending on which one you type it in, depends on if it's landscape or portrait. So if I do 8.5 by 11, I think it does, this does the portrait version. So if I do 11 by 8.5, it'll be like a sideways sheet of paper. So this document now is exactly the size of a piece of paper. So if I were to print it off, it would print exactly like a piece of paper, right? See where I'm going with this? All right. So first thing, like we have a transparent background, we can change the background. If I right click or 2-finger click, I get an option that says background. I can choose a color, and there I have a color. But you can make it a little bit more interesting. You can click on gradient. And then you can get these cool little different color backgrounds that have a little softer thing. Makes it a little bit more dynamic looking. Yeah, you can print blue and just run all your blue ink out.
Yeah.
And there I use blue piece of paper.
That's right.
Like Haynes told us to do this.
Anything that we should grade in.
All right, so all we're going to do right now, we're making a poster. Spoiler alert, okay?
Are we not making sticky?
Oh, I'll show you the sticky thing, but I say that for the end because everybody's like, otherwise you'll be in there trying to make a sticky note the entire time.
Bitmoji.
Yeah, you're trying to get on your Bitmoji there. All right, I will throw a Bitmoji on this one. So the next thing, you can change the size of these. Let's insert. So a couple things we'll point out. You can insert text boxes. You can also insert tables and diagrams. But first I want to insert word art. So this guy right here. So it's going to give me a little text box. Tech Friday. So let me explain the difference between word art and just inserting text. Word art treats, or Google Drawings treats word art like an image. So I can resize it. I don't have to change font or anything like that. I can scrunch it up, tilt it around, do whatever I want to like I normally would an image, versus text that I would have to go through and change font size. So it makes it a little bit easier to manipulate. But I can still change the actual font. So I don't have to be necessarily happy with Arial. Okay? So Tech Friday, I need to look for something that's got techie font. So if I click on the font icon, I can scroll through and look for some. I'm going to use this one, AudioWide. But did you know if you can't find a particular font that you can look for, add more fonts? Anybody not know that? Peeler, so like if you click more fonts, you can look the entire list of fonts. You can even display them as display type fonts. You can do handwriting fonts. Monospace fonts, anything that has a check mark are already listed in my fonts list. But if there's not checked, then that's not an option for me to choose. So if I want to put them on there, I just click on them, and now they're in my actual font list, which is over here on the right side. I can also take them out. But in this particular case, I can't talk right now. I'm going to choose this one because it looks kind of techie.
Is that what you use?
And today I am. But I can resize it, just like I said, just like an image, make it a little bit easier to look at. And the next thing you want to take a look at is the color, because that blue on blue is not working. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of it. So right over here, this fill color, that is my, where I can change some things around. So I'm going to change this to, let's go white. All right, a little bit easier to see. If you notice, I also have this kind of outline around my letters. I can adjust that with the pencil. So I'm actually going to leave that. I might change the color. I might try a darker blue. And if I click the border weight beside it, I can change it and make it a little bit thicker. I don't think I like that color. I'm going to go to, ooh, that one hurts. All right, so I'm just changing some things around, okay? If I want to add a diagram or a chart of some kind, like I can click on my diagram. And this was recently added, I think about 3 months ago in all Google on Docs, drawings, and maybe forms. But if I click on diagram, I actually get some options over here. I have hierarchy, grid. I can get a timeline in there, process. And these are all things that are a cycle. And these are all things I can manipulate. So if I click on grid, I've got a couple options over here. If I want to, I can change them all to be kind of the same color so I can see what they look like. I'm going to use red since I have a kind of a blue-red motif going over here. And I've got 3, but I can change it to 5. If I click on it, I have my chart gets inserted instantly. I can take this. I want to make it a little bit more appealing looking. I can change it. Also, do you see these blue lines popping up? Y'all know what those are, right? No? This particular blue line is saying that if I do it this way, then my table is going to be the exact same size as my Tech Friday text up top. As I move it around, you'll also see red lines. Like this red line right here, I am perfectly center on my sheet. I can also, if I wanted to center it, all right, now I have to be careful because these are different sizes. I can select things. I can move it. If I want to get this perfectly center with the whole sheet, there it is right there. Now I can go in. I can actually go in and manipulate this text. (2018) Add things to my file. So I've gone a little bit further than just throwing in an image in a document. So I can go through. I can make all these. I can add more. I can add that on top. But actually, probably what would be easier to do in this case is just copy this bad boy and paste it. Then I can just take it. Kind of manipulate it that way. Sort of looks good, not really. You get the idea. And also, the other thing that makes everything personal is the Bitmoji. We just looked at Bitmojis last year. I don't know how often y'all have used them. I know Dara uses them. But that's an extension on there. And it does work on the CCS network. I tried. The only thing is we can't allow these for students because there are some on there that aren't exactly school appropriate. Like a little version of me flipping people off while wearing a honeybee costume. That's actually one on here right now. But when I have my little Bitmojis on there, I can just click and drag one on here. It's just like a little image of me, move it around. throw it on there. And there you go. And if I were to print this off, I'm not going to because I'd use up all my ink. But you can see right there, it actually was set up as a nice document, or I can save it as a PDF. Okay. And whenever you download these, obviously they're not editable. So if you ever wanted to share these with your students and have them edit or manipulate things around, you need to make them editable for the students. Okay. So that's a couple things I learned there. And then finally, how do you make Post-its? I did put links in there also for that. So here's the Post-it template. It forces you to make a copy of it, so that way you don't mess up the original. But when you go here, this is a document I found online. I just set it to where the Google Drawing is exactly like a sheet of paper. Print this off first. The reason being, so that way you have something, because you have to take your Post-its and lay it on that piece of paper in the little squares. And also make sure when you print, this happened to me a couple times, make sure the scale is at 100, because sometimes, I don't know why, but it happened to me and it happened to another teacher I showed this to. It changed it to like 90 or 95%. This needs to be at 100%, so that way, because these are 3x3 squares, and so they're the exact same shape as a little Bitmoji in there. And just make sure he's inside the square. And then you can throw little things like, one of the shapes on here is if you go to call outs, you can get the little speech bubble. Throw a little speech bubble, and then just move the tail over to where the mouth is. Change the background to white, and then you have a little Post-it. And if you like the Bitmoji, but you don't like the text, so let's see. Say I like this one of me, sad and drained. Using it as an example. If I want to, I can edit this battery symbol out. So what I do, I just take a little shape. In this case, we'll just make a little rectangle over me. Like that, and then change the inside to white and the border to white. And now it's gone and I got a little guy. Okay. That little hangs. And you can make these for anything. I mean, if you want to, or you can have the students design their own. Obviously, you won't have to use a Bitmoji, but have them make their own icon or something like that, and then you can run them through and print them off, and then they can have them. You can say Mr. Haynes or Miss Vaughn or Lipkin, whatever you want to say. But yeah, these are just a couple of the new things I learned from there. There's actually a lot more, but what I did in 2 days is hard to condense down to an hour and 10-minute presentation. So these are just kind of some of the highlights of some things. I saw a lot of really other cool things. Also saw some things that bored me to tears. Kind of hit and miss, roll the dice, because these are presented by teachers and some professionals who aren't exactly professional speakers, and you wonder why they're there.
They have different breakouts that you go to. That's what you do, or just all one big.
You have there's an opening morning session in the morning, and then you have like a session every 45 minutes until 5 o'clock, and it started at like 9:30. And they're all labeled by what they are, and some are specific to subjects, some are grade level specific.
Did you have your choice of where to go?
Yeah, and I mean there's usually about 50 sessions for each time you go to it. They usually send the ITFs. I'd like to send some teachers there every once in a while, because I mean it's good. I mean it's great for me, but it's also good because some of these are directed at teachers, and so I know sometimes it's hard to translate from one person to the next. But anyways, let me look here. I think that was it. Yeah, I kept inside my time. But yeah, like I said, if you haven't already, make sure you fill out the Classroom Podcast, claim your Pear Deck. One, because I mean, it's free premium access to something that you would have to pay for that we might have next year. So if you want to try it out, try it out. And then the link to the session, it's the same one as before. So if you, for whatever reason, still have not signed up for the CEU credit, go ahead and do so. But other than that, that's all I got. Be sure to check out, look through the Padlet. I didn't go over all of them because all these were actually from a 45-minute session that I went to, so I didn't have time to sit through and show them every single one of them. But I try to put a little blurb about what they do. So if one of them interests you, usually these have videos or how-to guides on them, so check them out. And I'll continue adding and try and manipulate these to make them look a little bit easier to read. So on that, you can keep the Post-its too if you want to use them for whatever reason. But other than that, that's all I got. Thank you so much.